As American Muscle charged past the green in 2007, Andrew Aquilani held the point in Touring 1 into Turn 1. But with a bit too much muscle in the back, a big hit left Jerry Onks without all his body work. A great battle from onboard Mike McGinley with David Pintarek. Speaking of muscle, next Pintarek nailed Alfred Longton, making it a bit breezy in his cockpit. Eric Jones slipped down the inside of Mike Pettiford. That put him into the top 10. And shortly thereafter, Muscle passed Russ Snow for 8th. But at the end, with a 7-second lead, it was Aquilani in a car he built and maintained himself, taking the win and his first SCCA championship. Touring 1 is the province of the brutes in the touring classes, and in last year's runoffs, the big brutes were from General Motors, Corvettes. And in this car, Andrew Aquilani had a virtually perfect runoffs. Fastest in every session, he got pole, fast lap, and a gold medal. And on those stats alone, he's got to be favored to repeat. But last year's silver medalist, he might have exception to that. That's John Buttermore, also in his C6. This year, he's been perfect on the season, 5 wins in 5 starts. And Mike McGinley also drove a Corvette to his best ever finish at the runoffs with a 3rd, but that was in a C5. And to step up to the top of the podium, he's upgraded to a C6.
Greg, there is certainly plenty of muscle in this high horsepower category. Stan Wilson won 3 races this year, and last year's Speedwell Challenge Rookie of the Year is a 6-year veteran here at the runoffs with the best finish of 2nd and is looking for that top step. The only other driver in the field who campaigns the Dodge Viper is this man, Jim Lynch. He finished 2nd at the June Sprints. He has 6 victories in his division, so certainly will be a contender here this weekend. Look for this man, Ed Zabinski. He's had a busy year, splitting time with the pro ranks as well as getting ready for his assault on the runoffs. He returns to T1, having finished on the podium last year in the T2 class.
The 45th anniversary of the Sports Car Club of America's National Championship Runoffs continues here on Speed. The 3rd year in a row, it is at Heartland Park, Topeka. Fabulous facility here, just about an hour west of Kansas City. And today, the gold medal will be awarded in Touring 1. Now, the touring categories were created to fill a bit of a void between the purpose-built GT cars and the virtually stock, showroom stock categories. And they have created a beauty. Touring 1 became a national class in 1996, and since then, it has produced some spectacular racing. And Calvin Fish, it's going to be fun to watch these cars again on this track.
It really won. The T1 cars will certainly have a chance to stretch their legs down this long front straightaway and through that very fast chicane, but then there's a real emphasis on handling the cars to be balanced there, fast section through there, and then these really tight corners. Traction off this final corner, turn 13, will be a key to the action here today.
We gave you a little bit of an idea of what the touring divisions are all about, but specifically, let's talk T1.
Well, T1 is the fastest of the touring categories. Changes to the wheels, tires, and suspension components are allowed, and it's really allowed expanded participation by many of the manufacturers.
And let's get right down to the pre-grid for some great stories unfolding. John Bizignano.
Well, Michael Pettiford knows this track very well. He's competing here in 3 different classes, T1, T2, and SSB. Now, in T2, he qualified 5th. In SSB, he qualified 6th. And here he's quite disappointed in his 11th place qualifying. I asked him why, and he said, Biz, we did not spend the money on the Corvette. Well, that just goes to prove that the old adage, speed costs money, how fast do you want to go? It comes right down to the club racing level. Well, a little bit further down the paddock road here is my good pit partner, Justin Bell.
These sacrifices we all make. Timothy Hunt in his number 23 Corvette started racing in 1978, did 2 years, and then took the next 25 years off to bring his family up and put them through college. Well, this is his 3rd year back in the seat. He did some sailboats for a while, but you can safely say that Daddy's back behind the seat.
All right, and Daddy's about to be let loose here as we get ready to go with T1 and the run to the national championship. A great field of machines coming at us from the Big Thunder, In terms of the Corvettes, you also have Ferraris, a great mix, and the Vipers as well. And there is number 36, the defending champion, Andrew Aquilani, and he is going to be leading him to the green for 18 laps of racing for the National Championship in Touring 1 here in Heartland Park, Topeka, for the National Championship Runoffs from the Sports Car Club of America. They're about to be unleashed. Boy, this is one we are very much looking forward to here in Heartland Park, Topeka, the Touring 1 National Championship Runoffs. Again, the best of the best have shown up here to determine the champion in this class. We've got a great field, a great mix in the field. And as we're about to show you the starting lineup, you can take a look, see if there's anybody there you've been following, big fan of. But Calvin, I got to say, everybody's a little bit concerned maybe after we got qualifying done because the defending champ eclipsed his own track record to grab pole.
Well, the vets are looking strong once again, but the Ferraris are also showing some speed here this year. They sat on the outside of rows 1 and 2 and look for Mike McGinley to move through the field. Our bronze medalist in 07 only qualified in the 10th position.
And as I said at the very top of the show, last year he ran a C5, this year a C6, so I guess there's a potential that could have been a little bit of development work that they just haven't quite figured out yet. Keep in mind the third qualifier, number 52, John Buttermore, who we've got at the top, he is a Triple Crown candidate, won his division as well as the very prestigious June Sprints, so we'll be keeping an eye on him. And then got Michael Pettiford, who's trying to get medals in 3 classes here. He's got himself a very busy event unfolding, so looking forward to how that plays out for Mike. He's already got one, so hopefully that'll be able to continue. We've got a great onboard for you. It should be a lot of fun from our 4th qualifier. On board the number 55, that's Scott Tucker in the Level 5 Motorsports Ferrari 360 Modena. So that's going to be a great view. There it is out the front. We've got them placed everywhere on that car, so it should be spectacular. That's a good-looking car, and I don't know. I get the feeling these Ferraris could really come alive a little bit later in the going. So we'll see if that, in fact, plays out. And speaking of possible developments during the course of the race, Justin Bell, what are you thinking about?
Well, really, at a time when they could do no better than have this kind of show of strength, this is really a display of Detroit muscle at its best. I mean, 14 vets, 2 Vipers, and then 2 Ferraris. But the thing is with the Corvette, I mean, I've got a lot of experience driving them. I love the Viper, but the Corvette right out of the box, as a friend of mine that drives beautiful big Ferraris said, if I didn't know it was a Corvette, I'd say it was the best car I'd ever driven. And so I think that's a good indication of why there's quite so many Corvettes in this field. Biz?
Well, Justin, as you say, T1 is mostly about Detroit iron, and I love it. Just to hear the cars is worth coming to the race for. But the fastest thing a race car should do is stop. And these drivers are going to have to manage their brakes throughout the entire race so that the last stop they make is at the podium.
Now, that's a very good point. A lot of power, a lot of weight. These cars do carry some weight, and as a result, even on a track that is not necessarily terribly tough on brakes, when you're slowing down this much speed along with mass, Cal, that's a factor.
You certainly do have to manage it, and that's going to be the key with the tires and the brakes here this afternoon. And it'll be interesting to see how those 2 Vipers in the field, the 2 Ferraris, can stack up against the rest of the field, which are all Corvettes.
All right, our pace car is in, and coming around and leading him to the flag is going to be Andrew Aquilani. We hop on board for the start. That's the look, and now there's the green flag. We are underway at Topeka T1, and the run for the gold has begun. And boy, Andrew Aquilani protecting nicely. Now, he's across. Oh, he just almost got into him.
Tucker took a hit there as that pinched down. It really funnels down. There's problems in the middle of the pack. The 98's around 7. Chris Ingalls spins.
And the 98 is Jim Lynch, who was a player here last year and was 2nd at the sprints this year. So 2 of the people that had qualified pretty decently, that was mid-pack, 5th and 6th qualifiers. Aquilani has already opened it up a little bit, but the 77 of Edward Zabinski in the other Level 5 Motorsports Ferrari was able to hang on to 2nd with the 52 of Buttermore right there. But boy, Aquilani already, Cal, opening it up a little bit.
He is, and he's running his own line here. And here we see Zabinski already having to defend with the defensive line over John Buttermore. So this will allow Andrew to just get into his rhythm and lay down the laps that we saw in qualifying. If he does that, he has the potential to run away from this field. Look like Scott Tucker has resumed there in 4th spot with a 55 Ferrari. He got lucky to get away with that.
Looking backward now at the 69 of Tracy. Meanwhile, here's another look at it from a different angle, Cal.
Well, there was some damage there, and there you see the 55 car. He gets into the 98, which then tags the 7 and turns him around. Tucker took a hit a little bit earlier, just after the start-finish stripe. Now we're on board there with Tucker, and there you see he basically gets squeezed. He has nowhere to go. That turns him into the 98, who then spears across the racetrack and takes out Chris Ingle.
Now as we hop on board live looking back, and I said that is the 69, who was one of the drivers, Mike Tracy, able to take advantage of those other two cars having the issue and spinning off. The question I would think right now for Tucker is, when he got squeezed, did it do any damage to the toe on those front tires?
Well, that's a shame, because he had struggled with the handling of the 55 Ferrari all week long, and they took it to Mid-America after qualifying. He's got a coach, Ross Thompson, who did some laps. They dialed the car back in, so they were very confident coming into this race. Now we're on board with Scott Tucker looking out of the back of his race car, and you can see how close that 69 car is. Mike Tracy really trying to get a good run off that chicane. It's a very popular spot for overtaking. He looks to the inside of the carousel. Can he make it stick? Side by side there.
Tucker got forced out, slipped a little wide. Now we'll see Tracy accelerate, not quite enough. And Tucker able to hang on, but boy, you can see the left side of Tucker's car. There's a fair amount of at least aesthetic damage to that bodywork, as it was pretty well scraped up, but car seems to be okay at this stage.
Scott Tucker is a really good driver. He's been splitting his time with the pro ranks this year. He will campaign at the 24 Hours of Daytona in a brand new Riley with a BMW power plant, along with Ed Zabinski, his teammate. So they're looking to move on to bigger and better things, using this as a springboard. But this Level 5 Motorsports team, certainly a very professional operation.
Just enjoying that shot through that very high speed turn 8 and 9. They've opened up. Tracy shows the nose a little bit, but not quite close enough. And I would think, Cal, that Ferrari, it's a little bit lighter weight, should be better under braking and the like, but of course, when you get on those long straights, that's where that vet should be very strong.
Well, that's the great thing about this racetrack. It really has two dimensions, the straightaway and the high-speed corners. And then Michael Tracy really dove in there under braking, so he's feeling really racy right now. Not sure if he's trying to rough Scott Tucker up, but he's certainly getting close to that camera of ours.
Look like Tucker is really trying. He pinches the exit of 14 a little bit. May cost him some speed, and Tracy, you can see, definitely gets the run, but not quite close enough. Up and over the brow, and now into 1 and into 2.
I love the design of this racetrack, where it kind of weaves around as you come down to that braking zone and turn-in point for that very fast chicane in 1 and 2. It really just gives you a variety of lines, and some people will try the outside, some go to the inside. There you see Tracy once again hugging through the carousel. He's certainly hooked up through there. Tucker is feeling the heat right now.
Meanwhile, up front, here is that Phoenix Performance number 36, Andrew Aquilani. He has got himself a margin, but it is not substantial. It was a second at the starting line. It's less than that now. And then Buttermore, Tucker, and Tracy round out the top 5.
With by far the sexiest, most glorious team rig here at the 2008 SCCA Runoffs, Level 5 Motorsport have brought along these fabulous looking Ferraris in the T1 class. But for them, racing isn't just about themselves. Scott, you actually have 250 very special guests coming.
Correct. On race day, we've got 250 kids from the big brothers and big sisters from Kansas City and Topeka, along with our proud sponsor, U.S. Bank. And we're really happy to be able to do that and give back to those kids. They're going to come here and get a race experience, gift bags, get to set the cars, get pictures. It's a great day, great event for everybody. We're really happy to do it.
Well, it's very special indeed when you can step out and do something incredibly special for some kids that, that organization. There are a number of them up there. You can see them, big brothers, big sisters. That's pretty special indeed to be able to share your passion and bring some excitement to those kids. The class act. And Scott Tucker also doing a nice job on the track right now, hanging on to 4th. And those fans of his are going to be liking that. Ooh, right there, Tracy back end stepping out just a little bit. And Tucker, boy, I'll tell you what, one of the things I'm watching, Cal, is going into that carousel. Tucker has a very outside line in, and at some point you'd think Tracy might just say, let's see if we can just nip down underneath.
Well, I think that's what Tracy was trying to do there, is trying to take advantage and sort of like swing back to the left early and get set up for the next corner, but he didn't quite get the job done, and the car gave up on him in terms of tire grip. But this is a fascinating battle we're seeing right now, and you called it, Greg. I'm sure those young fans are really cheering on Scott as he's in the midst of this battle for 4th position right now.
Through that quick change of direction. It used to be a very tight chicane. They opened it up a couple of years ago. Now it is just a very fast left, right, left flick, basically. Up and over the tunnel. That's what that hump is. That is the tunnel that leads into the infield. And then a quick downhill diving turn, really, Cal, isn't it, into turn 10?
It's really a high-speed turn, and as you said, you crest the hill, so you can't really see your turn-in point until you get over there. So it's really important that you hit your marks there. We've seen a few guys in earlier races today miss that braking point and turn-in point, and immediately on the outside of this racetrack, with all of the races that we've had so far throughout the course of the weekend, it is very dirty. And now up front, Zabinski starting to put the pressure on the defending champ.
Zabinski, by the way, has had a lot of success in Ferraris in the T2 ranks a couple of years ago, stepping up into T1, and they have got that car working, as you said, really pressuring Aquilani. And you can see the different line choices there into that long carousel. And Zabinski, well, I tell you what, that last part of the track, that really tight section, is where that Ferrari really seems to work. You can see Buttermore's not that far back of this duo either.
Now this could close up very easily. Zabinski had to hold him off in that early part of the opening lap, but right now he's got into a rhythm, laying down some very fast race laps. He's about 0.4 of a second faster than Andrew Aquilante, the race leader right now on the previous lap. That is now opened up to about the same gap, but here you see the Ferrari versus the Corvette down this long straightaway. Let's see how these guys stack up. Looks like the Corvette has good horsepower there. Pretty evenly matched for two very different race cars. Cornering speed, top speed seems about the same.
Oh, this is a good battle here, too. This is the 89. That is Michael Tracy. That is having a big battle with the 22 of Ollie Thordarson. And that is for 10th right now. And you got the Viper. That's the 98 of Jim Lynch, that black Viper, in this mix as well. So a good three-car scrap right now for that 10th spot. Remember, Lynch was the one who had the off with that contact off in that first turn. One of the two. He's mounted a very solid comeback.
Well, he's had 6 wins this year. He's very confident coming in, finished second at the sprints. And he believes that this Viper will be better suited to Road America when the Runoffs moves to that venue next year, but still giving it his all here on the final visit to Heartland Park, Topeka.
Well, you know, at 7, Chris Engel right there in that red and white Carbotech Corvette C6 is going to make this a 4-car battle for 10th. Pretty short order here as Ollie Thordarson leads it down the front straight, hanging on to that 10th spot in a great battle here in T1 at Heartland Park, Topeka. And up front, it is Aquilani continuing to lead. The National Championships at Heartland Park, Topeka, the 45th running of SCCA's Runoffs to determine a national champion in 25 different classes. And the battle unfolding right now, Touring 1, one of the fastest, most powerful high speed of all the classes. And the show they are putting on is spectacular so far. Andrew Aquilani, the defending champion, is the leader, but there is the battle. Zabinski, the number 77 Level 5 Motorsports Ferrari, is all over him, Cal.
Both drivers doing a great job here. Just really holding their line nicely. Haven't seen any mistakes so far. There you can see Zabinski doesn't seem to use all of the racetrack like some of the other guys. You see Buttermore there in the background, completely swinging out wide as he exits and gets on this front straightaway. Zabinski with a run here. We talk about the straightaway speed of that Ferrari. Certainly mid-range has a lot of grunt.
Yeah, it's a bit surprising perhaps with the fact that he tightens up the exit of that turn 14, but it certainly does seem to work. And Justin Bell, right now, this battle up front is awesome.
Well, it is, and a nervous father here, pacing up and down. Does he know you're doing this much work?
Yeah, he kind of knows I get a little bit excited when I have to watch.
Well, obviously, he led from pole. He's out front, but the pressure from the Ferrari, is he used to this kind of up-front pressure?
Oh, yeah, he had a lot of experience this year in the Coney Challenge Series where he had to do lots of fender-to-fender running, and he's pretty cool with it. Ferrari's a little bit stronger on the straightaways. We're a little bit faster in the backside, so we should be okay here.
Well, I'll let you get on with your marathon walking here, but it's certainly, the story is not over yet.
Well, I tell you, Joe Aquilani and his Phoenix Performance Group, they have been so involved in showroom stock level racing for so many years that I don't know that there's anybody in the business at this level that has more experience than that team.
No, I mean, Joe's just a tremendous competitor, great team owner, and he's just very proud to see his young son doing such a great job.
But John Bizignani, you take a look at what Ed Zabinski and that Ferrari is doing, pretty impressive.
Well, very impressive. Amanda Hennessy is his biggest fan, and Amanda, he's on the prowl out there.
Yes, he is, sir. He's right on the back bumper of Mr. Aquilani, and the two of them are walking away from the rest of the field. But I think Aquilani's in for a little game here. The two of them are going to be hashing this out right to the end.
Now, earlier you were telling me that you don't want him to use up the car too much. You want to have everything underneath him when he needs it at the end of the race. Is he using up the car too much?
We've had plenty of testing in these Ferraris that I think we're just going to keep it easy, not use the tires, and that's pretty much what we've been telling them for the last couple laps here. There's still a whole bunch of this race to go, and we're just waiting for the first place car to use up a little bit of his equipment, and hopefully we'll be able to pass him at that point.
Thanks, Amanda. Well, I'll tell you, she's got things under control in the pit lane, guys.
Well, I think that's a great strategy. That that Ferrari, obviously he is able to run close to that vet, and if he can do that without putting too much pressure on his own tires, that's going to run the vet a little bit, make him use up some of that car. Meanwhile, we've been watching this great battle. The 22 of Thordarson having a very solid run in the Avaca Networks. That is the Corvette, the yellow number 22, but the guy who's moved up, remember not that long ago, Chris Engel, was back a bit, and now he is coming up making the big move underneath Thordarson, and Chris Engel is on the move and picks that spot up.
Well, he's got a fast race car underneath him. He qualified in 5th spot for the race today and had that unfortunate incident going down into the first chicane on the very first lap, so he's in recovery mode, as is this man, Jim Lynch, who qualified in the 6th position. So we've got two guys who qualified on the 3rd row of the grid now making their way back through the pack.
One of the things I love about this class, Cal, is the aural sensation. You listen, you've got the big V8 grunt of the vet, you've got that scream of the Ferrari, and nothing really describes the sound of the V10 in that Viper. That is just such a unique sound.
Well, as Biz said at the beginning of the show, it's all about that big muscle, but look at these two leaders. Who has the muscle here? Joe Aquilani says the Ferrari has a bit of an advantage on us down the straightaway. Certainly pulls the draft here, but that Corvette has really good entry to the high-speed stuff. Watch Andrew if he can hold the lead here. He gets through the first half of that chicane exceptionally well.
And down into turn 1, and there it is. He opens that margin up just a little bit. Transitions just a little bit better almost, it seems. As they head down into turn 3, there's Aquilani, there's Zabinski, and then you see Buttermore has trimmed about a half second off of his deficit. So he too is starting to come into this one just a little bit at this point, as Aquilani continues up and through turn 4, 5, and heading toward turn 6. And we are on board with Scott Tucker, who continues to hang on in 4th over the 69 of Mike Tracy. Approaching halfway in our Turing 1 National Runoff. Let's go back, take a look at some of the key moments. Pole sitter Aquilani led them away, but there was going to be a squeeze play right here, Cal.
There was. You can see Scott Tucker was getting roughed up by the 98 machine, and then he had nowhere to go. Turns him across, and that affects Chris Engel as well.
There's the hit. Lynch spins, Engel spins. Tucker able to continue on. And then we have watched this as the number 77 of Ed Zabinski in the 2nd place Ferrari a couple of times has drawn up along that left quarter panel of Aquilani, but not quite able to get that to stick. And now as they work out of turn 14 and onto the front straight, the different lines utilized here as Zabinski definitely runs a little bit of a tighter exit, but the guy who is really reeling them in is 52 Buttermore.
He really is, and we saw Zabinski struggle a little bit there to get off of that hairpin, so he's not quite as close to Andrew. Oh, big crash here. That's the
It's like the 98 of Lynch. So he has had some serious issues here. He had that spin earlier due to that contact, and now has gone off and nosed into the tires. Doesn't look like he had any substantial damage. Cal, let's go back, take a look and see if we can see what may have caused this.
Oh, just comes in with a lot of speed, loses the rear end, then he hits the marbles, just backs it in. Car turns around on the wet grass, and not as big as contact as I initially thought he would have had in that high-speed corner. To wait and see how much damage he's got to his fenders if he can continue.
Going back in the pack just a little bit, some great battling here for the 8th spot. Jerry Ongs in the number 96, that red machine, and right behind him, Mike Pettiford, the number 41 Go For It Racing School's Corvette. Again, Pettiford has won his division in 3 different classes. It's never been done before, and then is trying to win medals in 3 different classes here. That has been done, but it is not easy to do. And Mike Pettiford, who we talked about up top, now trying to figure out a way to move up and get around Jerry Onks for that 8th spot. And as we talked at the top of the show, he just running the other 2 classes, he really hasn't been able to focus on the development of this vet as much as he may have liked.
Well, he won a medal here yesterday in T2.
Yep.
It was initially a bronze. We hear someone may have got DQ'd there. That may move up to a silver.
This is the battle for 6th, the number 92, the Viper of Stan Wilson. Gentlemen, you talked to at the very top of the show, Cal, an impressive young driver, and giving him a lot of pressure right now is the 73 of David Sanders in that yellow number 73.
Wilson seems to be struggling a little bit with the handling of this car. I'm not sure if it's downshifting or whatever. When he came into that fast chicane, I saw a bobble in there again. So I don't think he's completely at ease behind the wheel right now. We know he's got a lot of talent. He was the Speed World Challenge Touring Car Rookie of the Year last year. Finished 2nd here in T2, well not here, but at the runoffs in 2003 at Mid-Ohio. So he's got a lot of speed. Right now, I don't think the car is handling as well as he would hope.
73 Sanders, you can see the Phoenix on the side of that. Again, part of that great group from Joe Aquilani's Phoenix Performance Group. That's one of the older C5s. It closes right up on the back of Wilson as they crest that rise and then turn down into turn 1. Wilson able to hang on at this point, but boy, that was a great run out of turn 2 by Sanders. Closes it up. Both of them use that very wide line in and then sort of bring it down toward that apex curve. Meanwhile, we hop up to the number 55 of Scott Tucker in 4th spot, looking back, and every time he looks in his mirrors, this is a view he's been getting, that ever-present 69 of Mike Tracy.
He's not letting him go. It's been this close, if not closer, for the whole race. So this is a tremendous battle. Looking at the lap times, they're about a second or so off our leaders, who are Aquilani and Sabinski still in 1st and 2nd. These guys running low in 1:44s, the leaders in the 42s.
And Aquilante up front continues to lead by less than half a second over Zabinski. We've got great battles throughout the field, and the number 55 of Scott Tucker in that U.S. Bank Level 5 Motorsports Ferrari is 4th. Welcome back, and up front, Andrew Aquilani has been able to ease away just a little bit from Ed Zabinski in that last lap here at Heartland Park, Topeka, as we go for a national championship in T1 at SCCA's Runoffs. And it has been a great race so far. Certainly Aquilani has led it from the get-go, but it has not been easy at any point. And this is about the biggest margin he's had since, I'm thinking, Cal, about the end of the 2nd lap as we are working lap 12.
It is, and he's done a tremendous job. I really like the job that he's done in protecting his line. He hasn't been super defensive. He's keeping a good lap time going, yet he's kind of taken away the overtaking opportunities from Ed Zabinski.
It's out of turn 6. He crests this rise in 7 and then down this long blast heading down into the chicane. Biz?
Well, you know, in talking to both the Ferrari drivers before the event, they thought that their mid-engine would give them a little bit better handling around this track, but they are several hundred pounds lighter than the Corvettes. They really think the race is going to come to them in the later stages. Let's see what happens.
Well, again, that's the best attack here for those Ferraris, is just to keep pressuring these Corvettes. Use it up. Oh, here we go. 73 Sanders. This time able to get down and underneath Stan Wilson. That is a pass for the 6th spot. So Sanders, who had been absolutely hounding the youngster for a number of laps, finally able to sneak through. But their little battle has allowed this group behind him of 96 Onks, 41 Pettiford, and the 7 of Chris Engel to come up as well.
Yeah, this is going to be a 5-car battle here for this position for 6 in a moment. Sanders has cleared Wilson. I really don't think Wilson's car, you see on the downshift there.
The move by Engel, by the way, Cal, sorry, but whoa, that was close. And he surprised Pettiford. Pettiford almost sort of took his nose off against the back bumper there. And oh, there it is. Wilson goes around. Engel has to park it. And Pettiford goes right on by.
We talked about it. You could just sense from the language from the car that this car is not working well for Stan Wilson. And now he was feeling the pressure. He's going to have to retire that car. It's got a broken track rod, it looks like, in the left rear. Let's take another look. Oh, he gets clobbered.
He got hit, yeah.
He didn't go around by himself. He got attacked pretty severely there. So that's where the damage was, in the left rear corner. Major hit.
Yeah, the 96 of Onks was the car that got into him. And as you said, that car damaged, and he is just trying to limp it into pit lane, but not going to be able to get that fixed, certainly, in time to even get out for the end of this national championship sprint, as we're working lap 13 of 18. Meanwhile, this battle up front, it is amazing. At one lap, the margin will be all the way up to half a second, and then the next lap down to a tenth. And that's what we've been seeing. Now we'll see if number 7, Engel, remember he had just executed that pass on the 41 of Pettiford to pick that spot up, and he had to come almost to a full stop to avoid that spinning car, and that allowed Pettiford to sneak by. So we'll see now whether he'll be able to run Mike down again and make the move.
Very different race car that Mike Pettiford is driving here. He's had a lot of success with it in his division, but when you get to the runoffs, the bar is certainly raised, and there you see he just gets blown away down that straightaway. So he's got a problem. There's smoke coming out of the back of that car.
Oh, the 69 of Mike Tracy, who remember has been in the mirrors of our camera car, 55 Tucker, and Tracy is stopped, and that door opening in a hurry. So he's concerned with that level of smoke. Looks like the hood is up in that cloud, and he's out.
He looks pretty disgusted, as you can tell. Big disappointment for Mike Tracy. He had a great run here going. There you see it. Behind Tucker, watch the smoke.
Oh, look at that. That's a comprehensive blow up.
That is exploded. That is a big one. That is expensive, folks.
That's a Chevy V8 that is no more. So at least he is out, and the car looks to be in a stable condition at this point. So we go back to this battle, and the interesting thing here is the 89, Michael Tracy, another Mike Tracy, they are indeed related. He has come up through the pack and got around Ollie Thordarson. So these two now are having a great scrap as well for the 9th spot.
Oh, he gets a little bit wide there. Meanwhile, the 98 continues.
Boy, it has been an eventful race for the 98 of Jim Lynch, and he is trying to just fight his way back up through the pack one more time.
Jerry Onks is actually a retired vet now working full-time on his vet. This beautiful T1 car is prepared for the SCCA Championships. Jerry, I've got to ask you, this car has somewhat of a mixed history. It's been on fire, it's been crashed hard, both front and rear, and it's actually rolled off the crashed truck. What's up with that?
I don't believe in superstitions. I just had a bad weekend.
When it comes to competing now, after all that trouble, you've hit things kind of hard once in a while. Do you have any second thoughts about that?
None at all. I just like to get the car fixed, put it on the frame machine, get it together and go.
Is it all straight this weekend?
Looking good.
Looking good, and now he's not working on one horse, he's working on 500 of them.
And there he is right now, qualified 9th, so he did get that car working in pretty good order and was able to put together a good qualifying run. But you can see he's been in the wars, though. Take a look at the side of that car. There has been some moments, some scrapes, and of course he got into the back of Wilson as well. So it has been another one of those days, apparently, for Mr. Onks.
It has, but a beautiful line there. He really carries tremendous speed through that high-speed chicane, using all of the road. The car is really balanced, and he's doing a great job.
Oh, and look at this. We have the 77 now is under attack from John Buttermore. But, folks, this is for the lead. Zabinski is in the lead. Buttermore is second, and Aquilani has dropped off by 13 seconds. So a big development there for our defending champion and pole sitter. So we have a couple of different players now in the mix of this battle for the gold. Zabinski hanging on to it, but we have watched the last few laps. Cal Buttermore just seems to be getting quicker and quicker and quicker. But we are under now a full course caution, and this is why.
Well, here's Andrew Aquilani in the 36 machine. The 5 cars turned it around. Andrew had nowhere to go. He commits to the left. There's Zabinski sliding through. And Andrew Aquilani must have some damage or lost a severe amount of time. Here we see it. The car is turned around. Andrew tucks it to the inside, tears off the right front of that red Corvette. Zabinski goes through unscathed, but Buttermore is certainly putting the pressure on.
Yeah, that vet was Nathan Waldbaum in the Greg Young Chevrolet entry. And so suddenly we have a change in terms of Zabinski being in the lead. Now Buttermore has gone missing, at least in our shot. So perhaps there was something involved there. Looking back, I'm not sure if that was Buttermore that just flashed through. But Zabinski, after being in that second place and in the middle of those two vets, suddenly finds himself out front with a fair amount of breathing room at this stage. So, wow. Things get curiouser and curiouser here. The Ferrari has gone to the front after our pole sitter and defending champ Andrew Aquilani damaged apparently the right front corner of that Phoenix Performance Vet as this car had spun, and Aquilani already committed, nowhere to go. We'll be back. Welcome back, everybody, to the National Championship Runoff and Touring 1. Big developments. While we were in break, we are under a full course caution, and you see it's the 77 of Ed Zabinski as your race leader in that level 5 Ferrari, and this is what precipitated this caution, and it has turned everything upside down in this T1 race, Cal.
Well, here's the leader, Andrew Aquilani, in the 36 machine. The 5 car has spun. He's stationary in the racetrack. There you see Ed Zabinski slip through the inside. Here's another angle on it, and that is a big impact which has affected the right front suspension of our leader of this race. Dramatic moment here in the closing moments.
And as a result of that, Zabinski was able to sneak through Buttermore and everybody basically moving up a spot. So it is Zabinski, Buttermore, and Tucker, your top 3.
He's just got his 20-year pin for SCCA. So this is...
And that is Amanda Hennessy. We talked to her earlier, Biz did, and she is elated because, as it turns out, we are on the final lap, and it is a lap under caution, so Zabinski is going to win the gold medal in his 20th year of membership. That's pretty special indeed. Buttermore looks good for his 2nd consecutive silver. And then this gentleman, who we've been enjoying these great onboard shots with, Scott Tucker, teammate to Zabinski in that Level 5 Motorsports program, in his Ferrari, looks like the bronze is going to fall his way. Well, I tell you, there's 250 kids here who are going to be pretty happy about that.
They will be very happy, and Level 5 Motorsports are having a tremendous day here. Zabinski currently runs first, Tucker third. They just got to roll over that finish line. Huge day with both drivers on the podium potentially.
Here's a look at Tucker, and absolutely great day. And of course, for Andrew Aquilani, looked very good again. He seemed to be controlling things up front. Zabinski certainly was hounding him with some pressure, but that's why you hold the races and things happen. And Aquilani stopped, and it looks like as we come down through this sequence of corners, the autocross, as we call it here, into the final turn, Zabinski is going to have a nice casual drive up to those checkered flags and a gold medal in that E-Data Solutions Level 5 Ferrari.
Well, he drove a superb race. He really put the pressure on Aquilante. Then the gap spread out just a little bit, but he was there to take advantage. Unfortunate for Andrew Aquilante. He'd driven a brilliant race, and the crew goes crazy. Zabinski takes his first national championship.
2nd consecutive medal, but as you pointed out, last year it was in T2 and it was a bronze, and this year it is gold. How special indeed. Let's get right back down to biz with Amanda.
Amanda, I know you're congratulating Ed. Listen, no one likes to finish under a yellow, but he won this race. He earned it.
Yeah, you know, it was... He's still yelling on the radio, so I'll give you 2 seconds. He's wanted this for so long. I mean, you know, and I just said to you guys, he just got, he's been a long member with SCCA, and, you know, every race that he goes to, no matter what series, he's like, man, I really want it.
You guys are going to be celebrating tonight.
Yes, we are, sir.
All right, congratulations. Let's go down to Justin with our 2nd place team.
Well, John, it must just be heartbreaking in a way. You just were shaking your head.
Oh yeah, it's real tough to save the car, set it up, be closing, running faster laps, and run out of racetrack here with the double yellow caution. Really hurt us.
Well, I just saw it in your eyes. You were going, you know, I could see, we're going to have him, and then you realized that the accident was too severe to clear up before the end of the race.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's racing, you know, you got to be prepared, you got to be good, and you also got to have a little bit of luck too. So, I mean, Andrew had some bad luck. He was running first, and he was in an accident, so he also had a great drive going too and had some bad luck.
Well, at least you can hold your heads high leaving here. Well done.
Yeah, okay.
Back to Greg.
Well, you take a look at the nose of that number 52, and if you've been a longtime follower of IMSA, you see Kreider Racing on the front. They've been involved for many years in helping work on this car. I mean, it is just a great program. Again, a 2nd consecutive silver medal. And you heard the emotion in Amanda's voice, and one of the reasons is she knows what this means. She is a very top driver in SCCA Racing in the Spec Racer Ford category, and in fact has run at the runoff. So she knows what this means, and she knows what Ed is going through right now on this very special cool-down lap. We'll be back to talk to him and the other medalists when we come back to Heartland Park. Welcome back to Heartland Park, Topeka, Kansas, where the Touring 1 National Championship, one that was an absolutely topsy-turvy one, has concluded. There's your top 5, and John Bizignano was with our champion.
We are with Ed, trying to get the helmet off, trying to get him out of a very hot race car. Amanda's helping him as much as we can. Ed, I've got to ask you, I'm sure you didn't want to win underneath a yellow flag, but boy, you earned this victory. I bet you were very happy to see the checker under any condition.
John, thanks very much. Yeah, it wasn't the way I fantasized about it, but let me tell you, I'll take it any way I can get it. This is a worthy championship to win. Sitting in a Ferrari, riding in a Ferrari, getting to race a Ferrari, and winning a national championship in a Ferrari is all of those things a very special thing to do. And Scott Tucker made this all possible, and it's as much his as it is mine.
Well, tell us about that pass for the lead. You were all over the back end of him, and then you were by him.
Well, I was working AJ over pretty hard in that spot for a few laps in a row, and actually, unfortunately, it was that incident. It was the car that spun, and AJ didn't quite get by cleanly, slowed him up enough, and I think he wound up with a problem that I could sneak by, and that was the end right there. I mean, we were going to go. John Buttermore kept me honest too. He wasn't going to make it very easy.
Well, you also won the award for the most emotional pits this weekend, so congratulations on that. Well, and congratulations on your 20th year as an SCCA member.
Thanks very much, John. I appreciate it. It's taken a long time to get this, and I'm happy to get it.
Well, here comes the gold from Amanda. Justin.
Well, John, I mean, that is just not the way you want to finish your runoffs.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It just turns my stomach. It was the last 2 laps. All I could do to keep from running him over is a classic Saved by the Bell there. 2 more laps, there's no question this car would be first.
Well, you know, I was with your dad pretty much the last third of the race, and he was saying, you know, he's 2/10 quicker actually on average now. The race is going to come to us the way we planned, and I mean, it's just we just felt your disappointment. But you did have the measure of the guys in front actually, even though you were about 100 feet behind most of the time.
Yeah, after the start, you know, they got a little bit ahead, and you know, probably lap 6 through 8, I fell back a little bit, but after that, you know, you look at the times on each of those laps, I'm faster and catching, and then as soon as that yellow flag came off, I'm just like, oh, you got to be kidding me.
Well, you're going to be thinking about this for a while. Well done, John. Back to you, Greg.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Obviously, just an incredible season for this young man, though, with his division championship, with his win at the June Sprints, and that close to winning himself a Triple Crown, Cal.
You could sense the emotion. He was on the point of tears there. He realized that a national championship was within his grasp here today, and that yellow cost him an opportunity to have a go at this guy, Ed Zabinski. Ed wouldn't have made it easy. He had a great race car. He drove a great race. He deserves that gold medal, but certainly Buttermore thought he could have got that Triple Crown today.
And as Ed is enjoying that very special victory lap here at the Runoffs as a champion, here are the full field unofficial results. Your top 3 we talked about. David Sanders, I think Chris Engel may have had one of the drives of the race, Cal, coming back from that spin and contact early and cracking the top 5. Not too bad.
No, I mean, he had a chance at podium here today without that wreck on the first lap.
And then we go back a little bit, and there's the story, perhaps in 12th, Andrew Aquilani. You don't know ever if you would have absolutely held on and won it, but he certainly looked to be at least looking pretty strong at this point. So that was it. Now let's get right back down to John Bizignano with our bronze medalist.
Well, Scott Tucker is receiving his Hoosier Tire official medal necklace here. Let me tell you, Scott, what's all this down the side of your car, mate? You've definitely been running hard out there.
Yeah, we ran real hard. It was a good race. It got a little rough there at the beginning. A lot of cars were going for it, and I got kind of caught in the middle, and it kind of put me back. But you know, a couple things were wrong with the car, so it was hard for me to catch up. But overall, it went okay.
You know, Ed said that it was your organization that allowed him to win a gold medal here at the Runoffs. He's so happy. What do you have to say about your team?
I mean, that just makes the day for me. I mean, this effort was really about Ed. He's been wanting to win this championship for 20 years, and I'm just happy that I was able to help him do it. So today's his day.
Congratulations on the bronze and for the team on the gold. Let's go down to Justin.
Well, Dave Sanders, a very solid 4th, but you got that look on your face.
It was survive out there today. You know, the 2 cars in front of me had contact at the start, spun out, kind of gapped me back a little bit, but you know, the old C5 vet had it still going, and we got a 4th. It's a good day.
That is a good day. Greg?
Absolutely. I mean, he was in the middle of the wars. There's no question of that. And to survive for a top 5 is very solid indeed. And again, you could even hear the emotion in Scott Tucker's voice. You know, the bronze for himself, but the teammate gets the gold. There's so much involved in this from the team program, and then having all those kids here. It's pretty special stuff.
It means a lot to a lot of people to have success here at the Runoffs. We say it's all about competing and being in this show, but to get a medal, and particularly that gold, that is a special moment for Ed Zabinski and that whole crew.
And you could tell he felt a lot of honor in doing that in a mark as legendary as Ferrari. That's pretty special too. So just a great day for that team, no doubt. And for John Buttermore, boy, I'll tell you, so close indeed. And once again, for Andrew Aquilani, after that near perfect weekend last year, it looked good. But that's why they hold the races. Things happen, as you can see here with Mr. Tracy, a big blow up as well. It was an eventful and interesting race in T1. To Scott Tucker, to John Buttermore, and to Ed Zabinski, our medalists, congratulations.